Hey everybody! When you glue up panels, you inevitably will get some glue squeeze up, and there are multiple ways how you can actually get rid of them. And in this short video, I'm just going to show you a few methods that I found kind of working for me. So let's start. The first basic method that you can actually get rid of all this squeeze out is using a regular sandpaper. So you just do a lot of either by hand or using various kind of descenders. So the sandpaper is one. There are better ways. A lot of people actually like using chisels, and it works. I've found, at least for myself, I found it's a little bit of danger of actually digging it into the board, like if you're not careful enough, which is not a great idea if you want to preserve the surface. So if you basically, you can do the operation forward, where you have a little bit of danger, or you can actually do it in the backwards direction, and this way it's also working. You just destroy the edge a little bit faster, or you just destroy the edge. Finally, there's a hand plane, either this one or some kind of a smaller one, a block plane. This one will also work, and it actually will work quite good, much better than a chisel. But I found that it dulls the blade really quickly, especially if the glue is not yet settled, then it will be quite a bit of a mess. If it's already set for like 24 hours or more, then the hand plane is actually working quite well. So the hand plane, good approach, but not always. Finally, there are two more methods that I have been kind of experimenting lately. One is a card scraper, and the card scraper is very simple thing. It's just a piece of metal, can be just a piece of saw blade that was cut in the specific shape. You can use it to produce the shavings, but essentially you can also use it very quickly to just remove a lot of glue. The problem, at least that I found about the card scrapers, just like this, is my fingers hurt. Because whenever you use a card scraper, you have to push it forward, keep at a specific angle. And if your thumbs are strong enough, or you can train them quite a bit, then it works. If your thumbs are not strong enough, then this can be a little bit of a problem. But there is a solution to this problem. Cabinet scrapers. And cabinet scrapers is nothing more than a card scraper put in the body. And with this approach, you're basically killing two birds at the same time. You're using card scraper to scrape all the stuff, and you're not hurting your fingers, so it's good. So if you have a chance to see something like this, it's called a cabinet scraper. The number is Stanley 80, and there are different companies that made these cabinet scrapers. Try to find it. If you can score one for reasonably cheap, get one, and you can find them in a lot of antique stores. I think this one is no longer sharp, or at least not enough. So I'll just disassemble and quickly resharpen it. So the first step is to flatten this stuff. A lot of recommendation that I saw on YouTube is to start with the file and basically put the stock in some vise, and with the file it out. I think if you have a diamond plate, you can just use the diamond plate and it will do the same, if the damage wasn't that bad. And the objective is to have just a flat. There's no sharp edge that I'm trying to achieve in here, but I want to have a very smooth edge. So what I'm gonna do, I'm flattening the coarse on a fine and extra fine, and then try to remove the burr on this side. And then there will be special stage afterwards. It's better to use jigs that making sure that this angle is very consistent. I'm lazy to do that, so I'm just doing it this way, trying to be steady as much as I can. And this steel is not hardened, so it goes really quick. Okay, so now I have a burr, and I really want to just remove it, because that's not the burr we want to use for the cabinet scraper. That's done. At this stage, it's really dull. There's nothing really, I mean, it's a little bit sharpish, but it's not supposed to be sharp. And now turning the burr, or turning the hook in here. For regular card scrapers, Paul Sellers made a video of how to make a jig to actually hold it. This one, because it's 45 degrees, it's slightly different. I don't have a jig, so I'm just trying to do something by hand. But the logic of the operations is basically the same. You need to have a burnisher. It's basically some piece of steel that is harder than this material. The first step of this operations, you have to burnish the area at the same angle. If you had the card scraper, you would do it 90 degrees. For this one, I would do 45 degrees as I was doing before. And there's nothing special. I'm just doing a few strokes and just pushing this material, just pushing the metal. It's kind of weird, and you can also do it in slightly different directions, kind of to pull materials in to the side of the edge. So that was one operation. Okay, so now we kind of extended this lip a little bit more, and now we need to create the hook. And for this type of operation, it's very simple. I'm going back to the 90 degrees. For the card scrapers, then you have to kind of come up with some angle. But in this case, it's just 90 degrees and just a few things. Okay, and we're done. If you feel on this side, it's have a very, very noticeable hook, and hopefully it will work. Putting back irons in a cabinet scraper is very easy. Just put in a flat surface, push it down until it gets to the surface, and screw these things. You don't need to do anything else. There's additional screw here that basically defines the tension or how deep cut you'll be getting with the card scraper. I'm going to be operating this direction, so the hook should be on this side. So you have to double check. And I have double checked, so should work. And now I can not just remove the glue, but also kind of sand the surface. So it's getting nice, tiny cracks. And for this one, you can go any direction you want. And by the way, I'm doing this on end grain. The only thing I need to worry about at the ends, because you can see I already chipped them. This is waste, so I'm not worried too much. So I hope you learned a little bit of new material. Like if you have never heard about the cabinet scraper, that's the thing. The similar stuff exists for the floors, just a little bit different thing, and sometimes even have like a long handle attached, so you can scrape. But I know one person, James from Wood by Right, that I think he used this one to scrape all his floor, when he was refinishing. It was like crazy amount of work. But it's possible to do. And I really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to the channel. So see you next time.